Hello everyone, welcome back to the Cut the Crap's Politics channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Republican primaries. A lot of what we're going over today is still really hypothetical. There's still a lot of time until a lot of these polls actually start coming in and results are actually finalized, so just take a lot of this with a grain of salt. However, all of this is based on current polling, and yes, fair disclaimer, polling's not always the most accurate, but really it is the only thing we have to go off of right now. And of course, as you can see, Iowa is already on there. Iowa's the only, at the time of filming, Iowa's the only caucus that has voted. New Hampshire is in a few days, but firstly, we're going to be looking at the home states of all of the primary candidates. Vivek Ramaswamy has dropped out of the primary. However, I did keep him up on the board because he did receive 3 delegates from Iowa. First up, let's take a look at Florida, which is the home state of Governor Ron DeSantis. So despite Ron DeSantis being a pretty popular governor in Florida, Donald Trump is still sitting at around 60%. Since Florida is a winner-take-all state in the caucuses, that does mean that Trump will actually likely take all 125 delegates. Next up, let's take a look at South Carolina, which is the home state of Nikki Haley. So opposite from Florida, South Carolina is not a winner-take-all state. So we're looking at Trump sitting around, he's actually been going down in his polling, but we're sitting around, I would say, 53%. Actually, we'll put him at 54. Nikki Haley, I think we can safely say, is sitting around the 22% mark. I think that's likely to go up. No higher than probably 26. And Ron DeSantis, I think we can see sitting at around 11%. That still does, or 12%. Overall, it is likely that Trump will win South Carolina. Next up, let's take a look at Ohio, which is the home state of Vivek Ramaswamy. So despite this being his home state, he actually wasn't polling very well here. It is very likely that Trump will win all 78 delegates. I'm going to quickly do the territories of the United States. American Samoa is likely to go to Trump. So for a lot of the territories other than Puerto Rico, I wasn't actually able to find much information. So I did have to kind of base it on personal opinion, I will admit. I'll just quickly show that in case anyone is interested. Again, this is personal opinion. I personally believe that Puerto Rico will go to quite likely Nikki Haley because she is a more moderate candidate. People in Puerto Rico tend to be more moderate, so it's a personal opinion. Going over to Mississippi, I think Trump is also likely to win over 50%, perhaps with Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis being quite close to each other as well. Over in Washington, I'm suspecting Nikki Haley will likely win this delegation. I don't know if she'll hit over 40 or over 50%, sorry. I think she's likely to beat Trump, yes, but perhaps not hit that 50% mark. Moving on to Arizona, I think again we're looking at Trump sitting around a good mid to low 50, Ron DeSantis coming in at a good second, and Nikki Haley in third. Next up, Arizona. Arizona's a winner-take-all state. I think we can definitely predict that Arizona will go to Trump. Next up is Illinois. Trump was barely holding on a 50% to Illinois. Ron DeSantis was pretty close behind him, but I personally believe that Ron DeSantis may be able to beat Trump in the Illinois caucus. Moving on to Kansas, I also believe that Ron DeSantis will take Kansas. I don't think he will hit the 50% mark. However, I think he will come relatively close. I think we're also likely to see a Trump victory in California, quite a high victory as well. Perhaps I would personally believe with Nikki Haley being in second, and then Ron DeSantis in third. Again, in Colorado, I think we're very likely to see a high Trump victory, perhaps with DeSantis, not quite that high for Trump. In Maine, I think we're also likely to see a Trump victory, perhaps with a low 50, and then a tad for Nikki Haley as well. I think DeSantis and Nikki Haley are likely to be somewhat close. Moving on to Massachusetts. I think I probably said that wrong. I'm not American, but I think we're saying Trump with a low 50. Personally, thinking Ron DeSantis and then Nikki Haley a little bit ahead. In Minnesota, I think we're likely to see Trump take all 55 delegates since it is a winner-take-all state. In North Carolina, I think we are also likely to see a pretty good head-to-head between Trump and DeSantis. I feel like this will be a pretty close race, but I do believe it will probably ultimately come down to Trump as well. Looking at Oklahoma, I think we're also likely to see a pretty good Trump victory, Ron DeSantis being in second. Tennessee, no surprise. I think we're definitely going to see a pretty good victory for Donald Trump, quite high. I'd even put it in the 70s. I don't think there's much room for Nikki Haley to get anything more than a few delegates. Then down to Texas, I think Trump is very likely to take well into the 60% of delegates. Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley probably likely sitting pretty close to each other. I believe that DeSantis will take Utah, perhaps not by a whole lot. I think Trump, can put up a pretty good fight here. But I don't think Nikki Haley will do very well in Utah. Again, this is personal opinion, but I believe that Nikki Haley will take Vermont, I would say with a pretty decent standing. Then moving on to Virginia, I think we are likely to see a Trump victory, perhaps in the low 60s, and DeSantis and Nikki Haley being quite close to one another. In Hawaii, I think we are very likely to see Trump win this one as well. This is just personal opinion, thinking maybe Nikki Haley will come in second here. Much wiggle room. Big one coming up in a few days is New Hampshire. To be honest, this is going to be a pretty big battle between Trump and Nikki Haley. I think we're going to see, however, Trump come out on top. Now, that's not to say that I don't think Nikki Haley is going to put up a big fight. I think it'll certainly be close. Moving on to Nevada, I think we're going to see a pretty good Trump victory here. Quite likely with Ron DeSantis doing quite well. I think we're also very likely to see Trump take Oregon. Oregon is a proportional state. I think we're seeing Trump maybe sitting around 51%, Ron DeSantis at 25%, and Nikki Haley at around 22%. Moving on to Montana. Montana is a winner-take-all state. Certainly think we're going to be seeing a Trump victory here. The same goes for New Jersey. New Jersey is also a winner-take-all state. Think we're going to be seeing a Trump victory here as well. Again, this is probably a personal opinion. I believe Ron DeSantis has a pretty good chance of taking New Mexico. I think it'll be a pretty good fight. However, I do think that DeSantis has a pretty good shot. South Dakota is also a winner-take-all state. I think we're definitely going to be seeing a Trump victory here. Moving on to Rhode Island. I think we're definitely going to be seeing a pretty good Trump victory here. DeSantis probably not going to be doing too bad, but probably around here. Moving on to Wisconsin, I think we're also going to be seeing a winner-take-all for Donald Trump. Moving on to Wyoming, I do believe that this will be, again, another winner-take-all for Donald Trump. Doing more of the same in Pennsylvania, I believe that Trump will also swing with Pennsylvania, and that is also a winner-take-all state. In Indiana, I think we're looking at Ron DeSantis win, in my opinion. I think he is likely to win. Indiana is also a winner-take-all state, so I believe that DeSantis will be taking this state. I think that Ron DeSantis has a pretty good shot of winning Maryland. Maryland is a winner-take-all state, so I think DeSantis will win those delegates. Moving on to Nebraska, I think, again, we're going to be seeing a Trump victory. This is also a winner-take-all state. Exact same thing moving over to West Virginia. Once again, winner-take-all, Donald Trump. Moving on to Kentucky, I believe that Donald Trump is going to win this state by quite a lot. This is not a winner-take-all state, however. But I do believe that Ron DeSantis will be coming in at a pretty good third. and a little bit for Nikki Haley as well. Moving on to New York, this is not a winner-take-all state. I believe that Trump will be sitting around 60%. Ron DeSantis up in the high 20s, and a little bit for Nikki Haley as well. Moving on to Alaska, I believe that Donald Trump will win this, perhaps with a pretty good 50%, Nikki Haley in second. I also believe that Alabama is going to be going well for Trump, DeSantis probably doing quite well. Additionally, moving on to DC, I think we can probably see a pretty good basis for Trump to take all of those delegations. In Connecticut, I think we're also seeing a road to victory for Donald Trump. In Delaware, I think we're also going to be seeing a winner-take-all win for Donald Trump, which is also the home state of Joe Biden. Idaho is a winner-take-most state. I believe that this is also another state that Trump can probably predict himself to win quite well. Definitely seeing Trump with another winner-take-all for Louisiana. I think we can also predict a win in Missouri for Ron DeSantis. I don't know, I'm kind of on the fence about this one. I think I'm going to put it at a pretty good 50%. I don't think that Trump will be far behind. In Arkansas, I think we can definitely see Trump taking around, Ron DeSantis coming in around 30%. I think the rest we can get to Nikki Haley. Second to last is North Dakota. I believe this is going to be a Trump win as well. And last but not least, another winner-take-all state, very likely Minnesota for Trump. And that is my predictions complete. Of course, you may not agree. You don't have to agree. That's fine. This is, there's a lot of opinion here. A lot of polls that are perhaps outdated, aren't that accurate. A lot of this is speculative, but it is just my opinion. It's also pretty good to note that I'm not an American, so my knowledge on American politics, meh. I'd like to give myself an okay personal opinion. I don't think Trump should win. Out of these four candidates, not that I personally agree with any of them, I think Nikki Haley is probably the best bet for the Republican Party and also for America. Trump and Biden, round two, it's pretty unsure of how that's going to go. However, with Nikki Haley, I think for sure that she could, beat Biden right into the dust. DeSantis, I think he's an even worse choice than Trump. He's more extreme. I think he's going to push people who are more moderate back to Biden. I think really the best way for the Republican Party to guarantee a victory in 2024 is to choose a moderate Republican who can kind of bring those Republicans who perhaps voted for Biden or didn't vote at all back to the GOP, as well as bringing some moderate Democrats who are sick of Biden or are looking for some change. Again, that's personal opinion. You don't have to agree. That's fine. However, I want to thank everyone so much for watching. Whether you skipped through or watched the full thing, doesn't matter. I thank you. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff that everyone always asks you to do. And let me know in the comments your opinions, any way that you agree or disagree, or even just what state you're from, if you're from any state, or who you'll be supporting in this primary. Anyway, thank you so much for watching.